Hello, wonderful person. Qlomorey here. Today I want to talk about the gameplay of Little Nightmares Free. What intrigues me about Little Nightmares Free is how many new elements they are adding in to refreshing the gameplay formula. This game feels like the developers are not scared to try out new things that are experimental. I appreciate it so much. We never want games to not change, because if they don't change, they never get better. Little Nightmares Free is quite different though. It does not change what the original games had, but adds more to it. First of all, we can see new mechanics like the umbrella. This is going to add in some really interesting puzzles which have been teased in the game's original announcement trailer. We have not really seen those puzzles ever since, which makes me think the Necropolis is going to be an even bigger chapter than we have already given it credit for. I am really curious to see how the chapter handles the transition of daytime to nighttime. Like, seeing it progressively get darker outside could be extremely tense. And we have only seen one scene that involved the Beatles so far, so how much more of this chapter we have just not seen? There are some really interesting sections they teased, and I can only wonder how much else they have in store for us. If each chapter has its own unique items we find, then what would the carnival have? We still don't know. That's so awesome to me, because we are going to be surprised. We know that we are going to collect flashlights in the candy factory, but what else could we do with those lights other than illuminate pathways? Well, there are certain weevil bugs that get afraid when they have a light on them. So, what if this flashlight becomes a defense mechanism for those bugs? Kinda like the mannequins or shadow children from the other games. Then we got co-op, which is a massive game changer for people who like to play with their friends. The combat looks so refined and way more interesting than how it was in the other game. Lo has his bow, and there are flying enemies and the puppets that can still chase you after you shoot their heads off. Creepy. It looks way more fun and refined than how it was in Little Nightmares 2. Overall, this game looks amazing. I love everything about it, and nobody's gonna change my mind on that. This comment is by Daniel Nikolai Puliguru 1788. I think that the lady's lack of screen time is a good thing and a bad thing. While her lack of screen time makes her more mysterious and interesting, on the other hand, it makes her not as popular and memorable as other monsters like the janitor and the chefs. Though, she is still my favorite monster from Little Nightmares 1. I see what you mean, but I feel like regardless, the main villain of your story should not feel like an afterthought. The lady just felt like means to an end, and I really don't like writing that's like that. Join me on my mission of world domination, and hit the subscribe button. Like this video too if you enjoyed watching it. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye now.